All right, Ken, thank you. Global casino icon and billionaire Sheldon Adelson has died at 87 years old. Adelson grew up poor outside of Boston, his father a cab driver. He once said, quote, "When I was 12, I bought my first business, getting his start selling newspapers on the street." That will come full circle later on as he died owning the Review-Journal. By 16 years old, he started selling vending machines, then ran a tour business. He bought a computer trade show and held it in Las Vegas, then buying the Sands Hotel and Casino, building a 1 million square foot convention center behind it. Reaction to Adelson's death has been pouring in all morning long. Let's send it on over to Faven Kay at the update desk with more on that.
That's right, Alyssa. Tributes and condolences from world leaders. And of course, our state leaders have been pouring in all morning. Governor Sisolak this morning describing Sheldon Adelson as a visionary who invested in bold and daring ideas that changed Nevada, while Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman described him as a caring and religious man who quietly changed lives through his enormous philanthropy. Senator Jackie Rosen also weighing in, saying, quote, "I am saddened to hear of the passing of Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon and Miriam's efforts to combat addiction and substance abuse in the Silver State changed the lives of many." And Nevada Congressman Stephen Horsford wrote in part, "Sheldon Adelson left an undeniable mark on Las Vegas. Through his vast philanthropic efforts, he created new educational opportunities for Southern Nevada's children and helped thousands of teens and adults struggling with opioid addiction overcome their illness." This morning, both former President George W. Bush and Donald Trump Jr. called him an American patriot and credited Adelson for bettering the U.S.-Israel relationship. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu echoing that sentiment, saying Adelson will forever be remembered for his work strengthening ties between the U.S. and Israel, and he will forever be remembered as one of history's greatest donors to the Jewish people. Now, Alyssa, during the break, you mentioned to me that it is thanks to Sheldon Adelson that you, in fact, were able to visit Israel, and I just wanted you to kind of touch on that experience.
Yeah, of course. Well, Sheldon Adelson, as you mentioned, was a huge donor to American-Israel relations. One of those big projects he helped fund was Birthright Israel, which I took part in as a college student, giving Jewish Americans a free trip to Israel for 2 weeks, completely funded on Israel taxpayer dollars and major donations like Sheldon Adelson's. So that is the way that he touched my life personally. But as we've been talking about on a huge scale, his philanthropy and through Sands Cares and through his hospice, he has made countless donations, not just to American-Israel ties, but also in the Las Vegas community and the state at large.
Now, when you talk about all the, homeless programs, education programs, the hospice center that you mentioned, oftentimes I think when we hear the name Sheldon Adelson, we think of billionaire casino mogul. But, this morning we're learning about all the behind-the-scenes work that he did to change lives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, we will continue to find out the ways in which he boosted Las Vegas. I'm sure that's to come as more and more people are paying their tributes this morning.
All right. Well,